Hi, my name is Austin Gil, and I like to build fun and interesting things for the web. In my videos, I'm going to be building out new projects, checking out different technologies, and sharing the things that I learn along the way. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to tag along, then why don't you subscribe and we can build something fun together. So where we are after this week is we are building a Wurdle clone with Remix.run, and so far we've gotten into some React stuff where we have this form here, and as we type into it, something like heart, we see that our updates are coming across the first row of our Wurdle grid, and that's using React's set state. So we instantiate a state with nothing in it for the current guess, and then our input in our form maps to that current guess. And as that input changes, we pass that on change event to the handle change event handler, which uses the set current guess function that we got back from use state. We call that with the event target value, and that's how we are updating the current state, which is then triggers a reload or a re-render of this component, and that's how we get the new state of current guess. When we hit submit, the page refreshes. That data is sent to Remix by means of this form submitting with the post method. One slight difference that we learned in Remix is that when you're going to submit to the root route, you use what are called actions, and it's based on the route that you're in. However, on the root route, you don't define your action in the root route index.jsx file. You define it in the root.jsx file in the app folder. So that's where we define our form action. We grab the request body with the form data, and then we update our guesses and we return that information such that when the page reloads, our data is already there. And our data is being loaded in Remix using this exported loader function. And the important thing to note here is actually all of this stuff we can ignore. We are returning our guesses there. So that's going to be the variable that we updated on the back end. And how do we get that data into our component is we use this use loader data function from Remix, which gives us the data back of our, whatever was returned in this loader function. And this is handy, or this is necessary so that we can get the data both on the server side and on the client side, so it's available. And lastly, we use the previous guesses that we get from the loader state. We use the current guess, and we calculate the remaining number of guesses so that we can generate essentially 3 different sections of the grid. The section of previous guesses, where we do a little bit of logic on whether any of the guesses are, how accurate they are. Next is the current guess, which is always going to be the next row after the previous guesses. And then however many rows remain, we get from the remaining guesses. So if I do my next guess, which is snout, I can see that previous guesses is up there at the top. Current guess is right there in the middle, and it is reactive to my input that I type. And the last couple rows are based on the remainder. So 2 guesses, 6 guesses total, minus one previous guess and 1 current guess leaves 4 remaining guesses. And I do find a little bug in there that we're kind of knocking off rows or columns as we type, but that's all right. We'll come back and look into that next week. I hope you had a fun time so far. I know we hit some snags, but you know what? It's working pretty well, and I think we're going to work through it and figure some more cool stuff out. I'm excited to check out the remix stuff, even though it's a little bit over my head right now. It hasn't quite clicked. Doing stuff with cookies is going to be nice because we don't have to reach for an external data source, and it works both client and server side. So we'll get into that next time. All right, see you.